Paula, and I'm here today to share Sunny Studios Fall and Holiday 2021 Christmas release. Up first, I have our new All Is Bright 6x6 paper pack. It comes with 24 double-sided pattern papers, 2 of each print, so there are 24 unique prints in the set. Up first is a colorful snowflake print on a white background, followed by a colorful dot on a white background, and my favorite, this poinsettia print on a brown background, and some scalloped stitched brown print that just reminds me of like a gingerbread house, the shingles. And here is a fun candy cane stripe, followed by a tone, it's kind of hard to see here, but a tone-on-tone red scalloped print. And our colorful diamonds, followed by a hot pink check, and a diagonal fun like holiday gifts with an aqua check. And my favorite, a red and white snowflake with a lime green check, and a pink candy cane print and a lighter pink check. Kind of compare there. And this is a really fun, bold, like holiday stripe with a red check. And then this is a holly print with a little light polka dot in the background there with a darker green check. Now we have a fun Christmas plaid with kind of a snowy background there. And here is the same snowflake print, this time on a brown background, and some gingerbread men that would go really good with our Christmas cookie stamps and our new gingerbread house dies. And here is a colorful stripe with a solid tree print in the background. And then it just starts to repeat again. Up next is our new sweater weather paper that's perfect for fall. This set actually combines a number of our colors from different releases. So it pulls colors from our spring collections, our fall, and our classic everyday colors. So it's just a really vibrant collection. I made a little note cheat sheet here for me. But it uses the medium brown and like wine burgundy color from our Jewel Tones pack, the peachy pink color from the Pastels pack, the orange and yellow from the classic, and then the olive green, the teal, and the navy blue from our Jewel Tones. So it just mixes and matches with a lot of our previous collections. And then our Christmas collection also mixes a couple different collections there. I just made some notes if you want to pause the screen and see that. So here is we're kicking it off with like a burgundy wine colored vine, and then a green vine print. I just adore tone on tones. This is one of my favorites. It's a really vibrant blue and pink and yellow flower print with the yellow vine on the back, and a colorful argyle print with the pink cable knit sweater on the back, and a really vibrant rainbow stripe showing all those colors together. They're gorgeous, with the burgundy wine cable knit, and a brown multi-dot print with the orange cable knit, and a heart argyle with the yellow cable knit. And then this is a vibrant leaf pattern using all the colors with the green cable knit on the back, and a really vibrant stripe on brown background with the teal. And then this wonderful colorful diamond with it's kind of hard to see there, but the blue cable knit. And then sorry, the lighting is poor, but it's a colorful vine print, the same vine print, but all in rainbow. And then this is the same print as that blue one, just on a brown background instead of a blue, for 2 different looks there. And then a pink vine, and then a teal vine, and then the blue vine. So you get the cable knit and vine in all of the colors there throughout the pack. And then there's 2 of each. So up first we have our brand new Crisp Autumn stamps. This is a layering set that features two little layering pumpkins and then three unique leaves. You've got the the chestnut leaf there. You have a little birch tree leaf, and then the happy autumn, as well as the layering maple leaf there. And then there's some little twigs also that can complement any groupings you create. And I love that there's the coordinating dies for the happy autumn word. So here I have a card using most of the elements from this set. It uses the background for our dots and stripes jewel tones and the happy autumn there with the die cut word, and the pumpkins and such made with a wreath. I backed it with a white stitch circle in the background, and then layered all of my elements over the top to maintain that circle shape. I started by layering the pumpkins across from each other, the leaves across from each other, until I created that somewhat perfect circle. And here's a card creating a background with all the leaves from the set, the three leaves. And I mounted them onto, or I die cut a sheet of stitched rectangle dies of white cardstock to mount them on, and then layered them onto our cable knit paper from the sweater weather set. And for this little banner, I cut a strip of paper from our striped silly paper pack, and then added the stitching to the edges using our slimline basic border dies. The greeting there is from the thankful greeting is from our elegant leaves, and the for your friendship comes from our new words of gratitude stamps, which I'll share here next. Right there. Digging those out here. So here's our words of gratitude stamps. This comes with so many great sentiments. It's kind of a continuation of our Inside Greetings collection of stamps. I decided on this one to create them as individual lines instead of mounting them together to give the user more flexibility to use them all in a row or to stack them. But there's just so many great greetings. You've got the with sincere gratitude and warmest thanks. You have thanks a million, thanks for all you do, thanks a bunch. There's just so many great ones. You can see there, thanks for everything you do. You're a blessing to so many. What you do mattered a lot. Just two words to say, to express so much gratitude. You make my world better. I just can't thank you enough. I'm so thankful for your friendship. You've touched my life in so many ways. Thanks for sharing your heart. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. There's a couple different hearts there in the set, so you can do it in cursive or not. And then there's, there you go again, being all awesome and stuff. So there's the two hearts. So you can do it in cursive or not. So you have in cursive, you have the thanks, thankful, and thank you. And then you can substitute these cursive word dies that are one die that is thank you and thanks. Here's a card using them with sincerest gratitude and warmest thanks. I used the scalloped oval matte 1 dies for the frame there. And then I filled it with the leaves from the new Crisp Autumn set and used paper there from Sweater Weather and the cable knit embossing folder for my background. I love the texture for fall. Here's a card combining the sunflower from our sunflower fields, and then the other leaves and such in the background from our elegant leaves, and then the little bumblebee there from the sunflower fields, and then the pumpkins and leaves and such from the new Crisp Autumn set. They just complement each other so beautifully. Here I use the thank you for your thoughtfulness, or your thoughtfulness touched my heart from our new words of gratitude. And for my background there, I use one of the vine prints from our Sweater Weather paper. Here's a card where I combined the new pumpkins from the Crisp Autumns. Those two little guys complement our previous pretty pumpkins really well. And I used two of the birch leaves there, also from the new crisp autumn behind the pumpkins. And then I framed them with a oval scalloped mat from our Fancy Frames ovals. And for my background there, I used a wood grain embossing folder. It's just a really nice texture without a lot of busyness. And then I added the word thankful for all the ways you make a difference using the words of gratitude and the slimline pennant dies, which I flipped inverted on each other so that I could have that little fishtail banner V on both ends. And then for the background there, I used another print from that sweater weather paper. Here's a card where I started by using creating a background, a textured background with our new icing border dies. I alternated the colors of a rainbow, so to speak, a fall rainbow, using the die, and then I mounted my little scene onto our new scalloped oval matte dies, which I'll be sharing later. I used both the number 1 and number 2 here, cut from orange and white, and then I used one of the stitched ovals in the center. For the little sentiment there, I used a banner from our banner basics and a greeting, I believe, from Fall Kiddos. Everything is linked in our blog post these weeks, so if I get anything wrong, it's there. But there's a little scene there using the 2 pumpkins and the leaves from Crisp Autumn with one of the pumpkins from our Pretty Pumpkins. And you can see there, I'm showing you that I used white on the background, so that scalloped oval matte 1 die behind the scalloped oval matte 2 die, so that you could see the little white polka dots instead of random bits of color from my stripes below. I just wanted that more clean finish to make them really stand out. Sorry, here in a minute, my phone rings, so I have to put down the card and start over, but this card was created. I didn't know where I was going with this when I first started it. I knew I wanted to do a card with the word thanks on a diagonal, but I didn't know what color I wanted them or where I was going. So I cut them all out of white cardstock, and I inked them up later with some distress ink. So I ended up, they all have like sort of a variegated look to them because they're all different varying levels of ink saturation. But I used some cable knit paper behind them from the sweater weather pack, and I used the border there at the bottom. That's a strip of paper from our colorful autumn paper pack and one of those icing border dies to separate the two. And then of course some little jewels there. I think that's called the orange topaz jewels from our store with those crisp autumn images. For this card, I used that favorite pattern paper of mine from Sweater Weather with our 2 of our ovals, and then a little border at the bottom from the icing border dies. And then I used 2 different pattern papers there, the cable knit and the blue. And then the words are both from our words of gratitude and our thank you word dies. And then for the flowers to match my background, I cut some from our botanical backdrop dies, which really complemented the flowers well there. And I used 2 different stitched oval sets, our stitched oval originals and our stitched oval 2. They're like create a mat for each other. So I'm going to go over all of our oval dies now. So we prior to this release, we had 2 oval sets, but we now have 4 new oval sets. We have our scalloped oval mat 1, 2, 3, and then new stitched oval die 2. So those are all at the top, and then these are our previous ones. There's the Fancy Frame ovals and the original stitched ovals, and they all are designed to complement and work together. So I'm going to go over my personal stash here and show you how they kind of layer and complement each other. So these are the 4 new ones here on the front and back, and you'll see that the largest one there can layer behind or over our stitched oval if you wanted to create a background behind it or something. And you can layer like double ovals. I'm sorry, I realized after I need to flip it, but you can, there's 4 in this set, but you can create like an extra scalloped edge around, like a shadow around that original Fancy Frame oval if you have that. I tried to see if it would work this way, but I realized it's not as wouldn't work as well as the first one. But These new ovals all were designed to layer with each other specifically. So you have these three that layer together with the three from all three sets. So I frequently will cut like a 1 out of white or a contrasting color from the first set and put it behind one of the 2 or 3 sets. So, and then these two come with the words hugs and love. So I didn't want to have that space in the center go to waste or just duplicate a shape that all the sets had. So with the set, you will not have any 2 stitched ovals that are identical. So these nest together. I'm just sharing how you can kind of, you have pretty much the ovals in all the sizes now with these 2 sets. And then this oval here is identical in size to the stitched oval that you find with our fancy frame ovals, but one has the little cutouts there for like to make it like a book plate or a label. And up next, we have our new Christmas critter stamps. This set comes with all these little peeking critters, a darling dog and cat, and 3 punny sentiments. You have the Meowie Christmas, the Happy Holidays, the Merry Slothmas, and Slow Ho Ho. And then for the sloth there. And they have the wreath and the coffee mug and the present and the pocket and the ornament and the mitten and the stocking, and they can all go inside those items, or they can be used all on their own by themselves. But it comes with a little set of snowflakes and a little hat to put on the critters, a little Santa hat. So here they all are wearing their Santa hats, hanging from our fireplace dies. I stamped my greeting there from our festive greeting stamp set, and for my background I created a really modern fireplace using our frilly frame quatrefoil dies there. And then for the critters, yeah, I used the new Christmas critter stamps, and then the log is actually from the fireplace die, but the flames that came with it, there wasn't room for them with my greeting there, so I ended up trying to get creative, and I used our picket fence grass die that comes with it, the border that comes with the picket fence set, to create sort of like a gas fireplace looking flame. And for this card, I used the new plaid from the All Is Bright paper pack and stamped a greeting again from that festive greeting stamp set, and cut my stitched rectangle using the stitched rectangle dies, and paired the ornaments and the critters from the set to create this fun little scene. It reminds me of just these oversized ornaments, sort of like we visited New York City as a family, and they have those big ornaments that are famous near Times Square. So up next is a card I created where I just started with a white piece of cardstock, and I sort of started really light with my lightest Copic marker colors and flicked on the basic shape of a tree. And then I just started drawing little tiny branches and flicking them on and layering until I built up all this tree to look fairly realistic. And then I went in with a black Copic marker around it, and then went back over it with some black soot distress ink to fill any like, I didn't want to use like my pen entirely up on one card, so that just helped fill it. And then I have a banner there with the sentiment, the banner from Banner Basics. These 2 gifts and the little tiny ornaments on my tree are coming from our new Silly Sloth stamp set, which I'm going to share here in just a moment. And then the cat and the gift box here is from the Christmas critters. And then I added some of our white diamond jewels to my tree to look like little glittering Christmas lights. Here's the cute little dog and cat hanging from a pair of mittens from the set, and I used just put a little brad there with some baker's twine. And my frame there is I nested 2 of our stitched arch dies that I ran through my die cutting machine at the same time. For my background, I repeatedly stamped our Snow Flurry stamps, and then I did a wash of watercolors from Daniel Smith in the background and did like a resist technique wiping off any excess, so the embossing powder that was in the background resisted the color. And then that greeting there, I cannot remember off the top of my head where that comes from, but I do link that in our on our blog. Oh, and I used a little bit of vellum in the background to kind of make the background not so vibrant behind them. Up next is the little sloths from the new Christmas critter set, together with the wreaths and a wreath from our Happy Holidays. So they look so cute lined up with the two different wreaths. I used for my card base our slimline, what do they call it, scallop frame dies. And then I added some glossy accents to my berries and used the Merry Slothmas from the Christmas critter set. I like how the light catches with the glossy accents and just adds a little texture to the card. Here's sort of a shorter slimline card, which I created using our stitch rectangle dies, which I elongated in my die cutting machine by running them through twice. I used a banner there from our Banner Basics and the little scalloped ovals from the scalloped oval matte 3s with the stitched oval dies. And for my little critters, I used the mouse and the mouse in the mug from the Merry Mice stamp set, and then the mug behind the mouse in the center, and then the mug there and the little mouse. Those are all from our new Christmas critters, as well as the little hats and the reindeer ears. And then the Merry Christmas Mouse greeting comes from Merry Mice, and then the background there I'm pointing to is the little polka dot from our Background Basics, and some I believe the scalloped ovals were cut from our pastel gingham paper. So here's our new Lazy Christmas stamp set. It has a little tree branch wrapped in Christmas lights and two different options for sloths. There's one that can hang from the tree or one that can hang on the tree. And he can also hang on a stack of presents. There's two sentiments, have a lazy Christmas, or it's beginning to look a sloth-like Christmas. And it comes with two little ornaments there that can hang from the tree branch, and some little strings that can have the ornaments hanging from these strings. Here's an example where for this one I used actual thread for my ornaments, but I used for my frame our comic strip speech bubble dies, and then I filled it in with the little critters from the set. I colored all my lights and scarf and such in a really fun, bright, vibrant color to match the pattern paper there. And I used the branch inverted upside down for him to hang on it. And then I added a little snow there along the bottom using our slimline nature border dies and some pattern paper there from our All Is Bright and a sentiment from the Lazy Christmas. Sorry. Up next is one of my favorites, one of my favorite Christmas color schemes, which is just a bold red and white. So I used the red and white snowflake print from All Is Bright, as well as the candy cane stripe there from the same paper set. And for my background, or for my focal point, I layered our stitched circle dies together with our scalloped scalloped circle tag. And for the background there, I used the same slimline scallop frame dies. You can see there that stitched frame that comes with it. I just let it run off the edge and I put it behind my tag there to kind of help it stand out and to not have it be too overwhelmed by all the snowflakes in the background. And then I added the little ornaments there and the slow ho-ho greeting from the stamp set, coloring my lights with that same red and white color scheme. And up next, we have some new number dies to go with our previously released popular Chloe alphabet. So we have some Chloe numbers now. And so I have a couple cards that use them, as well as the sloth from the from the Lazy Christmas. So I spelled out happy 2022 and used some balloons with the sloth there. This is a sneak peek of a product that won't be coming out actually until January of 2022. But you could easily substitute our floating by die balloons. For my happy 2022, I added some white gel pen. Oh, before I get there, I used some paper there from our sweater weather, which I mitered the corners so you could see the stripes on all four sides. And then I colored his scarf to match those colors. And then I used a little white gel pen to add the little shiny marks to my letters to make them look a little bit bubbly like a balloon. And then I used our Frilly Frames eyelet lace for the outside frame of my the white frame. And then the New Year portion of the word came from our Happy Thoughts stamps. Here's a happy 21st birthday card that I am making for my daughter who's turning 21. I'm getting old. So I used the number dies to turn them into balloons. And to spell out the word birthday, I used our blooming frame dies. It comes with the happy birthday greeting in the center of those frames. And the log from our new fall friends, and the little bear from our new bear hugs. He's designed to hold balloons or different objects. And then for the word happy, I used a word from our Color Me Happy set, and I custom spelled out her name using our Kinsley alphabet stamps. For the background there, I used our country scenes stamps, and then I was having trouble locating my fluffy cloud dies, which I was originally going for, so I realized I could use the dies from our Sunny Sentiments and Rain or Shine stamp set, so I used the coordinating dies to just cut some basic clouds. Up next is our new bewitching stamps. So you may recognize this cute little kitty. He or she is similar to our kitty from the Grad Cat. It comes with a little kitty, a trick-or-treat sentiment, the words "You're bewitching," a cauldron, a hat, and 3 little bubbles to go with the cauldron. And then the kitty's just great for everyday use too. It doesn't have anything that makes it specifically Halloween, so you can get a lot of life from it. And as well as the hat. The hat can be put on a bunch of other critters. I'm always loving to try to make things as versatile as possible. So here the kitties are side by side, the one with the graduation cap. Their tails each go the opposite way. I did this on purpose so they could be used together. You can use that witch's hat to kind of cover up the graduation cap and use them together like I did here. So I did my best to just kind of color in the graduation cap that extended beyond the witch's hat and make it blend in with his ears. For my frame there, I used our stitch semicircle dies. For the background, I cut some clouds from some matting material or some matte material from using our Slimline Nature Border dies, and inked it up using Distress ink. And then I gave him a perch to sit on using our same Slimline pennant dies, again flipping them so that I could have a notch in both ends. And then I stamped and heat embossed the words "You're bewitching" using the little greeting from the set, and used the little cauldron there in the middle with the little bubbles. Here's a card for everyday themes, just to show that if you don't celebrate Halloween, this kitty can be used for a lot of other occasions, or even stretched for other occasions. I started by inking up my background in the center with Salty Ocean Distress ink, and then using the new prize ribbon around that, and then going around it with some chipped sapphire on the outer edges, and then some black soot in the very far corners there. And then using our stitched circle dies, I inked up a circle using Squeeze Lemonade and Mustard Seed Distress inks. And then I kind of splattered on some water to give it my moon the craters that a moon would have. It's kind of hard to see here because my kitties cover most of the big splotches. And then for my background, I drew in some white dots with my white Sharpie paint pen for the stars, added a strip of black cardstock, and then used the fence from our picket fence dies to create this cute little scene with the little kitties howling at the moon. And then the meow you doing, the stamp phrase comes from our Meow and Forever stamp set, and I wanted to make it a little more prominent, so I combined it with the word meow from our loopy letter dies. I just love yellow and blue together. Now here's a pop-up card I created that fits in an A2 sized envelope. This card combines our Scaredy Cat little 2x3 stamp set from last year. Here's a look at it from down below. I give a little more detailed measurements on our blog, but it combines the cauldron and the kitty from Bewitching with the cat, and the stars and the moons from Scaredy Cat, and the little greeting there from Bewitching. And so for the background, I altered, we don't have rectangles that are this size, so I just shortened some of the rectangles that we do have to work with the dimensions of the card I was trying to achieve, which I also go into more detail about that on the blog. And then I added some acetate there for my bubbles to make them look like they're floating in the air. And then folds right back up and go in a card to mail. And I got a little ahead of myself and forgot to share the Fall Friends set down below there, so I'll bring it back in a minute. So up next is our Deck the Halls stamp set that comes with 9 fun chubby critters and ornaments. Did I say 9? 10 ornaments and dies. With the little polar bear, the peppermint candy, a snowman, a penguin, the reindeer there, a gingerbread man, Santa's belly, the belly of an elf, and then a gift. And it comes with all these fun little snowflakes that you can use, and then the 2 little ornament toppers, as well as this really nice oversized Have a Holly Jolly Christmas greeting, which I'm really actually enjoying. Here's a card that a grid style card that I created using our Window Trios square dies. I just ran it through my die cutting machine twice and lined them up together, and then added a little banner from our Banner Basics with a Season's Greetings. Can't remember which set that came from, so I linked that in the blog as well. But I backed them behind with some paper from our All Is Bright collection, and popped them up with some foam tape. Here's a card I created using the penguin from the set. I turned them into a little couple with added the little bow tie and bow to the hair, so to speak, to make them into a girl and a boy, using the Deck the Halls greeting from our holiday style set. For my background, I created a border using our new icing border dies. Here's a better look at them. So it comes with that one that I used on my fall card, as well as these 2 other ones that are just great, kind of look like icing for Christmas, like would go great with our gingerbread house die that I'm going to share later here too. So I created this fun background using the white borders on a red cardstock background. For my focal point, I layered some of our stitched circle dies together with our scalloped circle mat 1 and 2, I believe, 1 and 2. And then I used the tree branch there from our holiday style, and I had stamped it in green ink on green cardstock, but as the ink started to dry, it got a little faded, and I'd already taken it out of my die cutting machine. So rather than waste it, I decided to flick on some darker ink near the center with my Copic markers, and I actually really like the result. It just gives it this multi-dimensional look. Here's another card creating a background using the icing border dies there. I repeated the other border with a fun, colorful background. And then I used our scalloped oval mats 1 and 3. And then I added the little tree branches, oops, they got bent over, using our, what's it called? Winter Greenery dies, which I'm going to share more of later here. And the little banner there from our Banner Basics. And another greeting, I can't recall where it came from, so again, consult our blog, please. And then I originally had these laid out a little differently, but when I went to glue them down, I put them in different spots, which was I was bummed about. So I filled in some of the little bare spots that were left with some red rhinestones that are also on our website. For this card, I used the peppermint ornaments and colored them in a variety of different fun, happy colors. And then I arranged them into a circle, pairing them with the little tree bough branch from our class. I believe this one was from the Classy Christmas, and I just alternated them. I stamped them in a darker green and a lighter green, and then alternated them every other one. So I did like dark green, light green, dark green. So to just give it a little variance in interest. And then I stamped our wishing you peace, love, and joy in the center using the holiday style there, and used our all is bright paper in the background with the pink. And then when I was at this point, I still felt like my card was a little unfinished, so I went back and added these aqua ombre pearls, which I just love the vintage feel they gave my card. It was like, oh, now it feels like it's finished. I really like the way it turned out. Up next is a quick card that I made for our sample card to display in our brick and mortar stores that carry our products. I added that Holly Jolly Christmas sentiment and added the border from the icing border dies, as well as a strip of paper from the All is Bright. I added the different tree branches using our Classy Christmas and Christmas trimmings and holiday style, all to stamp them quickly at once. And then to add the little strings for my ornaments and to help me save time, I used a ruler with a black pen and was able to add them much quicker than if I had tried to stamp them all individually. Up next is a little fun 2x3 stamp set. This was a special promo set we had last Black Friday that was only available for 1 week only and never was sold. So this year it's available to purchase. It includes our cute little gingerbread boy and gingerbread girl. It comes with the sweet holiday wishes greeting and 2 little hearts. And then it goes so well with our brand new shaped gingerbread house dies, which come with you can either use the gingerbread house alone on a card front, or you can use it with the shape to create a shaped card. It has a little chimney there and little bricks to go in the chimney, a little layered peppermint candy to decorate the home with, these little gumdrops and little like M&M candies to go there in the scallops to decorate the house with, these 2 candy canes facing each way to flank the door, 3 separate windows, the little scallop there to go on top of the chimney, and then there's another scallop there that can decorate the edge of the windows, fits on both windows, and then a cute little door with a wood grain print, and then the shingles there have a little scallop print too. It just creates darling gingerbread houses, as well as so many other things, as you'll see here in a minute. So up first, I have some cards using the new Christmas cookie stamps. For this one, I cut this little circles for my gingerbread houses using our window quad circle dies, and then added the little scallop there along the edge using our slimline basic border dies and the greeting from the set. And then I added the pink snowflake print behind them using our holiday style, sorry, not holiday style, holiday cheer paper pack. Up next is a card combining the little gingerbread houses from Christmas cookies with the images from our Jolly Gingerbread stamps. And then for that red gingham background, I used our background basic stamps, and I inked up my background behind them with some evergreen, I can't remember the name of that color, but the distress ink that has the word evergreen in it. And it gave me a place to heat emboss my sweet holiday wishes and have it stand out. Up next is a card also using the Christmas cookies, this time with that new gingerbread house die. And there I layered some of the little candy canes. I cut them once from red and once from white, and they have a little embossed line where the stripes are, so I cut them along those lines and layered them together. And then I used that pattern paper there from our All Is Bright for my actual house. And then the little borders here, the little like piping, like it's frosting, I used our icing border dies together with our little red jewels. And I used some of the gumdrops there to decorate, like kind of layer in the snow. The snow was cut using our slimline nature border dies. And the sentiment there came from our Christmas home stamps. I just thought they complemented the home theme really well. My background was actually colored using spun sugar and the I don't know how to pronounce that word, flamingo, the new flamingo ink from Tim Holtz. So for this card, I used, I scored the back of my second piece along the top and added some adhesive there behind to create a little shaped card. And here I added a row of those gumdrops and added some sparkly Stickles glitter glue to make them sparkly, as well as some glossy accents to my peppermint candies and little M&M inspired candies there for my house. Here's two different versions. They're virtually the same. Next is an everyday card using the gingerbread, just to show that you don't have to use you don't have to use it just for Christmas. So for this card, I started by cutting my cloud background using our Summer Splash, I believe, paper it's called. Sorry, everything's getting jumbled in my head. And the grass also from that. And then I used our Sleek Stripes paper to cut out my little house there to make it look like the little yellow lap siding. And then I used our scalloped fence dies there and just trimmed them in half and used one on each side. So it's actually just one piece cut in half. And then I used the grass border there from our picket fence dies, and added the little chimney from the set with a little bricks. And the little hearts come from our mini shape die 2 set, and then which are exclusive to our store. And then these fluffy cloud dies. I love how it turned out. Here's a fall version using the little elements, the 3 windows and the door from the gingerbread house dies, which I combined with the acorn from our Nutty For You dies, and making a little house for my mice from our Harvest Mice stamps. And then the pumpkins, I think, are from our new Fall Friends set. And then the fence there is using our picket fence dies. And the little corn stalks behind them are a combination of corn stalks from the Harvest Mice and the Barnyard Buddies. And then I finished off the card with the string of lights from our Scenic Route stamps. So here's our Fall Friend stamps that I got too eager and took away earlier. It comes with a little husky pup, and then a fox, a deer, and a raccoon. And then there's a log and a stump, and a little pumpkin with a barrel, mushrooms, 2 pumpkins, a pile of apples, an individual apple, and then 3 little leaves and an acorn. And there's just all these, oh, and then there's this wonderful wood wagon and a bunch of mix and match greetings with the theme of friends. So for my first card, I created an elongated slimline card using our stitched rectangles, which I ran through my die cutting machine twice, hanging off the edge to elongate them. And in the background there, I used our background basic stamps, which I repeatedly stamped to create an overall background. And then for these little scenes, I mounted them onto our oval mat 1 and 2 dies, cutting the number 2 out of white and then our number 1 dies out of green to put behind them. I put for my banner art using our banner basic stamps, and then used a greeting from the new Fall Friends. All the little scenes are 100% from the Fall Friends set, as well as the greeting. Here's like a fall treehouse card I created. It's sized, I believe, 4 by 9 inches. I used, to create the grass and trees, I used our slimline nature border dies, and then I used the cloud dies there for the tree. And then the actual tree trunk, I just sort of freehand cut the trunk out of some brown cardstock, just sort of eyeballing it, and ran it through my die cutting machine with our wood grain embossing folder to give it the tree trunk texture. And then added the little door and window from our gingerbread house. And then I used the mushroom, the wagon, the 2 little fox, and all the leaves and acorns and such from the Fall Friends, as well as the greeting. I really was excited with how this turned out, considering it didn't require me to buy any special you know, cover plates or expensive dies. For this card, I started by using that green check print in the background from our classic sunburst paper. And then for my ovals there, I used a red oval cut from using our scalloped oval matte 3 dies and backed with our number 1. And then I covered it with a stitched oval in the center. And I used that little basket of apples and the tree from our Happy Harvest stamps. And then I used the pile of apples, the raccoon and barrel and apples in the tree, and the sentiment from our new Fall Friends set. I love the red, white, and green color scheme. It's like sort of Christmassy, but not really. It's more, it feels different somehow. Anyway, for this card, I created the outside frame using our Frilly Frames herringbone dies. And then for the trees here, I used the birch trees. I used our rustic winter dies. They come with the little leaves to add to them, which I used. I inked up some background for the ground with wood, with brown distress ink, and then I used some mustard seed and I'm forgetting the names of all these inks. The honey one for the background, splattering it with some water and then those little leaves I used from the rustic winter set. For my images, the log, the raccoon, the pumpkins, and all of the images there, they're all coming from our Fall Friends set. And then I believe the greetings is from the harvest mice from last year, but I can't remember if that's correct off the top of my head. For this card, I used the little husky pup from Fall Friends with the pocket from our Christmas Critters set, and to give it a little home, I made a pair of overalls. And this started out just as a rectangular piece of cardstock, which I cut the edges out with a stitched oval die here. I'll grab the die that I used specifically. So I used our stitched oval 2 dies, and I just used the smallest label there to cut out a notch from each side of my little rectangle there. So it started as a rectangle, and then I just notched it out and added 2 straight strips for the overall bands. And then I added some stitching with my black multi-liner pen, and added the buttons there from our Cute as a Button stamp sets. And then the pattern paper for the collar and the shirt was just folded over paper from our Colorful Autumn paper pack, and a greeting there from Fall Friends. Sorry. I shot this video a while ago, and so it's remembering the order I showed things is like always such a mess. Anyway, thank you for bearing with me. So for up next is our lacy snowflake stamps. This comes all as one continuous piece, so all 3 cut at once. If it is sort of intricate, so if you ever struggle to get it to cut, you can either use a shim. Anytime I had trouble even without a shim, I just would cut it one direction, like on a diagonal, and then I would flip it and cut it the other direction, so it always had no trouble after that. So I combined a bunch of these snowflakes with the little heat embossed snowflakes from our Deck the Hall set, as well as some of the smaller snowflakes from our layered snowflake frame die, and the words also from our layered snowflake frame die, the Winter Wishes. And then I added some white pearls to the center of my snowflakes. I just love, again, that red and white. I'm a sucker for it. And then I added some of those little white dots with a white gel pen, or in my case, I always love the Sharpie white paint pen. So here I created another snowflake background, this time cutting them out from colorful cardstocks and mounting them onto a black background. For my center sentiment there, I used to have a Holly Jolly Christmas from the Deck the Hall stamps that I shared earlier, and I mounted them onto a stitched oval, or I stamped them onto a stitched oval and then mounted them with the scalloped oval matte 1 dies. However, at that point, it was just sort of looking too small in the center of my card, so I wanted to give it a little bit more weight. So I decided to cut another oval out of some vellum there, and I loved how it makes my sentiment feel a little more prominent, but doesn't block my beautiful background that I worked hard on. So it ended up being a win-win solution. Here's a card using the lacy snowflakes to create a fun wreath. I cut the snowflakes out of 2 colors of pale pink cardstock, a lavender and 2 different aqua colors, and then I just traced around one of our stitched circle dies and used it as a frame for me to go around and arrange my snowflakes. For the center, I wrote I stamped Happy New Year from our Season's Greetings dies, and stamped them again in Versamark ink, and added sparkle embossing powder. And then I added our little jewels from our pastel jewel mix. We also sell them individually by color, but all of these can be found in our pastel jewels. And for the outside, we don't have a stitched square die, so I used our stitched rectangle, which I shortened by running it through my die cutting machine a second time. And then I used some of our gingham pastel paper for the outer edge, a little peeking out there. I really like the colors of this card for the new year. So here's our brand new winter greenery dies. It comes with a bunch of different little sprigs of and vines for the holidays. Can also be used for other times of year, for fall and Christmas. Has the little vines going both directions, a layered berry, and 2 holly leaves. And here is our new pristine poinsettia dies, which comes with 3 layers that layer together, and then you can layer 3 of the 3 layers, so 9 layers total, to create these beautiful multi-dimensional poinsettias. So I have rotated and turned them so that you end up with 9 petals total for your flower. Here's an example of how they look before I've embellished the centers. So it does come with a little cardstock center that you could put there, but I decided I wanted to add more ornate or jewelry, so to speak, to the center. So I added a brad there, and then I used, I was looking for my little hammer, but I couldn't find it. I basically hammered the heck out of the center of these so that they would be really flat, so that I could glue pearls and jewels and different things to the center to cover the center. So here I layered over the top of that brad 3 of our little ruby red pearls. And then for my little banner there along the edge, I used the skinniest banner from our slimline pennant dies. And then for the background there, I used pattern papers from our All Is Bright paper. I used the poinsettia there, and then I used a greeting from our Wishing You Joy from that comes from Holiday Style. And yeah. For this card, I went soft and pretty and went with a pastel pink poinsettia. For the center, I used some pearls from our rainbow, I believe they're called shimmer pearls. I can't remember the name of them, sorry. And then the outside frame and background here I created using our frilly frame quatrefoil, and all of the pine cones there are from the Christmas trimmings, and then the outside greenery is all using that new winter greenery. I added a strip of paper there from our sleek stripes, and stamped a heat embossed a greeting from our retro ornaments. I just love how, oh, and then I added stickles over the top of my flower and some of the pine cones so it glitters. For this card, I created cut strips of cardstock in black and white. I wasn't sure of the width, so I got out my ruler here to test it for you, but it turns out that they are 3/4 inches wide, so I just cut those on my paper trimmer, and then I flipped them backwards, you know, to the ugly side, and I taped them together, and then I ran them all through my die cutting machine using our stitched rectangle dies. So it creates this beautiful looking finished piece that looks like it was all die cut together at the same time, kind of like a fancy die, but done on the cheap. And then I just used the Joy to the World from our festive greetings and our new winter greenery there. It's a very simple card, but it turned out to be one of my favorites. For this card, I used the poinsettia there with those same ruby red pearls in the center, and then a bunch of our greenery off to the side for this offset design, and then some of the little transparent iridescent jewels there, and I added some glossy accents to the little holly berries there. And then I stamped my greeting using our Inside Greetings Christmas stamps, which I had stamped onto our scalloped oval matte 1 dies, and then added stitched oval behind it using some classic gingham paper. And then my background was using the green print from our new All Is Bright paper pack. For this card, it's 100%, the dies are all 100% from the winter greenery. That's what this card is featuring. But for the background there, I heat embossed our holiday style and Christmas trimmings and classy Christmas tree branches to create this really fun backdrop for them. And then I sprinkled on different colors, or 2 different tones of embossing powder behind them, and layered them with the berries there in the center. And then I added a heat embossed greeting in red using, I believe, our Christmas trimming stamps, and then cut down the panel using our stitched rectangle dies, and added some little white dots with my Sharpie white paint pen. Up last is one of my favorites, an elegant Christmas card using 2 of the poinsettias, 1 in each corner. For this card, I added the little jewels in the center. I started with a really, one of the larger jewels in the center, and then smaller jewels surrounding it, just using some liquid adhesive in the center of those poinsettias, and then I added those little twigs and vines. For the background there, I used some leftover background I had created for that fireplace card earlier with little critters hanging from the stocking, using our frilly frame quatrefoil dies. And I created the frame rather than a mat by using our scalloped oval matte 1 and 2 dies, and then I used the stitch oval to cut out the center portion so that my quatrefoil background could show in the background. And then for my Season's Greetings, I used our Season's Greetings stamps, and the background there was using the All Is Bright paper pack. So up next is our new forest tree stencil. This is essentially a 6x6 stencil, which is cut into 3 separate pieces to create this beautiful layered forest behind your scenes. This is a set of stencils I have wanted to create for a number of years now. So they're all numbered 1 through 3. There's the 1, the 2, and the 3. And so the one, I mean, you can use them however you want. They're pretty flexible, but the 1 was designed to go near the top of your card, and then you can layer with the 2 and the 3. So you start with your lightest ink color and work towards your darkest in the foreground. So I'm going to show you a series of cards with that, as well as our new bear hug stamps. It comes with a little kissing bears here, or rubbing noses, and the little mom and pop, or I don't know if it's a mom bear or dad bear with the baby. It can be either. And a little bear here that can be holding either the balloon or the little coffee mug or candy cane. And then a sleeping bear, which is one of my favorites, laying there, and then an ice block, and my absolute favorite, some stamped birch trees, which I'm so excited to have, as well as a number of punny greetings. So you can say, sending you winter hugs, sending you bear hugs. I could use a big bear hug, or just I could use a big hug. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas. So there's a lot of different fun mix and match greetings, as well as a number of cute little solid hearts there, which I used on this card here. So for this card, I started by inking up the background using Tumble Glass Distress ink with those new forest tree stencils. And then using the birch tree from the new bear hug stamps in the foreground. I'm using 3 different sets of them there. And then the little snowy hill using our Slimline Nature Border dies. And the greeting there, wishing you a very Merry Christmas from the set, as well as this little red candy cane print from our All Is Bright paper pack. Sorry, my camera cut out. Up next is a card using the little bears on the ice block there, with a border cut from our stitched arch dies, and a little snowy hill from our Slimline Nature border dies, and then that gave me a little spot to stamp my greeting there below the bear. And mom and baby. And then the background I inked up with spun sugar distress ink and shaded lilac for my trees there with the forest tree stencil. And then for my little snowflakes around the couple, I used our little snowflakes from our snowflake circle frame and topped them with some of the metallic silver drops. I just love the way these drops catch the light. They're really beautiful. And then for the background paper there, the pink snowflake print, I used a print from our Holiday Cheer paper pack. So here's my favorite guy on his ice block. For the background, once again, I used it in a vertical format this time, but used the Tumble Glass Distress ink to create like a snowy tree background using the stencils. And then to my foreground there, I cut all one piece. It's just stamped along the top and cut with the coordinating dies along the top there. And then I stamped that second image, from our winter scenes set. They're both from our winter scene set, and inked in the water print using some Copic markers. I kept putting the little guy there, moving him back and forth into the center as I colored to do the little ripples on the edge around him. I had a little Santa hat from the Christmas Critters, and Have a Lazy Christmas from our Lazy Christmas set, the sloth set. I just thought that fit perfectly. Here's a card using the bear hugs in a more everyday setting. I inked up my background there with some spun sugar and a light touch of purple ink. And then I used the sentiment there from Beautiful Autumn, and the birch trees from the new set. I'm sorry, the background mountain range there is from Alpaca Holiday. And then the grass here is from our picket fence die, and then the little daisies come from our spring scenes. And then I added the little coffee mug colored to match my background, and the bear color. He can be a polar bear or he can be a brown bear. I like how they're sort of ambiguous. You can make them either. So here I used all the little different hugging mom and baby or dad and baby bears. I mounted them onto little scallop tags from our sliding window dies, and I used in the background paper from our All Is Bright as well as the tag toppers, and then I cut that little scalloped edge along the bottom using our slimline basic border dies to match those sliding window tags, and they just really complement each other well. Here's a look from the back. I just added the strip over the top. And then for the greeting, I Heat Emboss Sending You Winter Hugs from the stamp set, but I replaced the word hugs from the stamp set with our die cut word hugs that comes with one of our scallop matte dies now. And the little hearts come from our mini shape 2 hearts, or dies. And then up next is our new Holiday Express stamps, which comes with a locomotive and then the little open train car. It comes with a little fir tree that you can add the little circle on as little ornaments and a little star for the top of the tree. There's these little puffs of steam for the locomotive, as well as 3 little gifts that you can stack up inside as a cargo. There's the little bell with a bow that you can decorate the train cars with, or the holly, or the little string of lights, so you can decorate them a number of ways. There's the polar bear, there's the reindeer, the Santa, the penguin with a little hat to put on this penguin, and the little paws for the bear. And then there's a variety of mix and match greetings, so you can say from season's greetings from the whole gang, or sending Christmas wishes from the whole gang, or across the miles. They're just very versatile mix and match greetings that I've really enjoyed. So up first is a card using them with the Santa and the reindeer. You have the 2, I only used 2 of the 3 stencils this time for my background, and then I added little brush using the clouds as bushes there from our slimline nature border dies, and then I added the little bells to decorate my train cars this time, and added the little red nose to my Rudolph, and the sack of toys in the back from our Santa Claus Lane set. And then for my greeting there, I stamped it onto a speech bubble from our comic strip speech bubble dies. For this card, I created a slimline card elongating our stitched rectangle dies again, and for the background I stamped the border from our winter greetings set. It was of course cut off right there on each side, so I masked off each end and stamped it a second time to extend the border across the whole background and elongate it. I inked up the little tree trunks and the trees to look like they were snowy, and added some Stickles glitter glue there. And then I colored all my trains and critters in a blue and green and silver color scheme, adding the little lights there to decorate my cars, and alternating the polar bears and penguins. And I added little ornaments and star to the center tree, and colored my little gifts to match my blue and green color scheme. Or teal, excuse me. So up next is an everyday card using the set. It's just fun to extend the life here. For the background, I set the scene using our scenic route stamps, and then colored my my train in very neutral colors so that the little colorful rainbow banners would really pop. The banners are from our balloon ride stamps, and then the little critters are from the Beach Buddies from this summer. And then I colored my little gifts. Rather than looking like Christmas presents, they now look like birthday presents, and I used the balloons from our floating by stamps. and then a greeting. I cannot remember off the top of my head where the birthday wishes came from, but the coming your way portion came from this stamp set, the Holiday Express. So here's a really versatile congratulations card using the forest tree stencil on the vertical, and then I cut the stitch edge around my outside using the Frilly Frames Quatrefoil dies, and stamped the little tufts of grass using our Barnyard Buddies, and used a scalloped oval there from our fancy frame, sorry, not oval, circle, scalloped fancy frame circles, and then a greeting, congrats, coming your way. The congrats comes from our tool time, and the coming your way is from this set onto one of our little banner basics. And then I colored my train in kind of like baby boy colors with a bear from our Beach Buddies. So I thought I could either use this as an upcoming baby card, or even put a little graduation cap on it and turn it into a graduation card in a stretch. So here's a really fun basic card, clean and simple, using the Holiday Express. I created this for our stores. I used the I stamped the little puffs of smoke directly onto my card background to save time, and used a solid cardstock also to save time, and then added a little strip of gray cardstock there to be my train track, and stamped the greeting from the set, and decorated these particular cards, train cards, with the holly there. Well, that wraps up our look at our fall and holiday release for 2021. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I know this was a really long video, but I truly appreciate you, and I hope you will subscribe to our channel and give us this video a like. Thanks so much for hanging with me, and I hope you've enjoyed it.